there and welcome back to Japan, where it is time for our final review from BAND-MAID's World Domination. And as you know, I've ticked off all of the normal album tracks, but we have the bonus track to go, which is Honey. Now, ever since I mentioned this, a lot of people have been saying to me, this is more than just a bonus track, this is a really good one. This is not just a tagged on B-side to make the track list longer, this is worth hearing. Now, the album's been great so far, and after this video, this will be the last video in the series, then I'll post a short video just giving my conclusions overall about the album. But I'm going to go in and dive in for a direct reaction to this. Obviously I can't do it in the context of the album, except for, you know, saying how it fits in the end, but I can't really give too much credit to it as it is labelled as a bonus track. I'm going to have a beer when I've finished as well to celebrate. But one thing that I will point out here is that, you know, bonus tracks, you kind of got a bit of freedom to go crazy. So I really hope we get to see some of that BAND-MAID that is often not on display. I mean, they're such a fantastic band, but we don't get to see their crazy variations as much as I would like. So I'm really hoping that this is a little bit of a setting themselves free on this bonus track. Something they did as a bit of an experimentation and just wanted the record company to put in the final published CD. So here we go. It's Honey time. Okay. Am I listening to the right band? This is a much more open and free song, you know, it just sounds like a little bit more like a jam. It's fun when bands do those weird little sound experimentation breaks. That's a big swinging sound. Even the solo's kind of nice and experimental there, you know, a bit weird on the end. That slow riff is such a contrast to their usual fast stuff, you know, faster riffs. Even if they don't necessarily go punk, they always keep the guitars very kinetic. Alright, that gives me a lot to unpack, as I'm sure you guys are not surprised to hear. Alright, first things first, let's just be clear on this. I love that song, which is why I'm now going to tear it apart. Because the truth is, let's just be honest, like I say, remember, I really like this song, and I'll get around to why in the end. But first of all, that song was a total mess. It just like things did not flow into each other. You know, there was no sense that everything was flowing. I understand now why this was a bonus track, because it was way too messy to make that an album track. There was stuff happening that just didn't segue properly. The chorus was okay, but it was a bit. It was a bit underwritten. There wasn't really much to write home about in the chorus. It just kind of sounded like they got all their spare ideas and slapped them together and just went, there you go, there's another song. And that's why I love it. Now, I don't know where they got these ideas from, whether it was just a sort of a jam, like I say, an experimentation. That sound effect at the beginning seemed like they were leading us into believing something, but this is something that BAND-MAID have done before, which is sort of selling people dummies with things. Like the BAND-MAID thing, although they did see that through to a full-length EP. But it almost felt like the intro was them trying to go, oh, are we going synth? Oh, no, we're not. The song was really likeable because you didn't know what was going to happen next. This is a quality that I've actually attributed to the band Passcode, in that a lot of the time you listen to a Passcode song and you can't really say, well, okay, maybe that wasn't a good song, but I just love how unpredictable it was. And that's how I felt about this, is that, for a band, and that's another quality I should point out, for a band like BAND-MAID, who I have vocally said as much as I like them, I'm always picking on that fact that they have a pretty of a solid formula. To hear them do something like this, where there's just kind of no formula or strategy or rhyme or reason to anything, it's just kind of a mess of ideas all snapped together and, sort of delivered, signed, sealed and delivered, but not constructed. It's the IKEA pack of songs. I can't help but find that quite charming in context. Like I said, I understand this not being an album track, but putting it as a bonus track was a very clever idea, because it gives you it works like what do you call it? A prologue's the one that goes before. Epilogue's the one after, isn't it? It works like an epilogue. It's like, okay, if you have heard everything and you've completed the album now, here's just something that you might find as an interesting aftertaste, and it really is. You tend to find with a lot of bands, there are some bands who just put something really bizarre at the end of their album, just because it's like that chance to just clear your palate. And so, like I said, although on a quality level, this is probably one of the most lowest quality songs that I've heard from them in writing direction, in that it doesn't flow well and the chorus is a little bit meh, and it sounds a little bit messy. It is a real joy to listen to, and isn't this so often the case that when you listen to music, there's so many things you can judge it on. You can judge it on your personal taste, you can judge it on how technically good it is, how catchy it is, how stylistically good it is, but sometimes just the mere context can be a big thing, which is why I understand a lot of people like the live music for that. It gives it a live context. For me, as someone who's primarily always had, I appreciate musicianship, but I find writing much more impressive than musicianship. A great writer is harder to find than a great musician, to be fair, in my opinion, and I'm sticking by that one. I've had that challenged a lot of times, I'm sticking by that one. BAND-MAID can write a damn good song, but they do have certain limitations that I feel are slightly imposed upon them by maybe record company, maybe expectations from fans, maybe genre, and maybe time in the studio, as we've discussed as well, coming up with World Domination, we're apparently quite pressured in the studio. But with this one, there was this feeling that, which is implied by the very use of the word bonus track. There was a feeling that there is no expectation on this song, and that maybe they didn't even have any expectations on this song. And that, in the context of what they are, and the discussions we've had about them being pressured in the studio, and the discussions we've had about them being short on time, and the discussions we've had on them trying to maintain a certain image, hearing this is just, like I say, to reiterate my point but slightly differently, hearing this is just kind of a little bit of a joy, in that I can imagine the context of this. I can imagine how they would have recorded this. I can imagine the mixture between Eva Misa sitting there going, whatever, this one just whatever, it's done. I can imagine them sort of singing it, going, yeah, it's all right, let's finish it anyway, and probably smiling and laughing in the process, and just going, put the synth bit in at the beginning, And it might not have been that at all, but there is that feeling to it, and that feeling is an important thing. So this is a very interesting way to wrap off the album review. And I'm really glad I heard that. I'm really glad I just happened upon the edition that had that bonus track, which I'm assuming they don't all have it, or it wouldn't be a bonus track. So anyway, there we go. That's all of the songs done. And now I'm going to do a separate video, just to break it apart. I'm going to do a separate video where I'm now going to give my conclusions on the album. So thank you so much again, everyone, for checking out this series and following with it. I'm really glad that people have been enjoying me going into in depth with the album, hearing the album fully. And I'm now going to start doing more of these. I was thinking of breaking them up rather than doing it in batches. Might just have it where I do my usual reviews every day, and then we also have the stuff from James, Bubbles, the other videos, and then just every day, regular as clockwork, there'll be one album track review from whatever our album is. So maybe we can get through an album every couple of weeks just by doing one song a day. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm going to cut this one off now and catch you on the album conclusion. So for now, from Japan, until hopefully a few minutes, ciao ciao.